konnichiwa, hello, any of the languages you speak. We kind of maybe not really, but welcome to another episode of OtakuVerse. We're going a little bit different route with our second episode. It's still anime, so don't worry. We're going to be hitting some anime stuff, but this time we're talking about American anime. This is My Adventures with Superman. It's in its second season now. It dropped on HBO Max earlier this week, or maybe last week by the time this episode drops. We're going to talk about the show, how excited we are for it, what we expect from this season, anything about characters that we may or may not like. And also, instead of giving a ranking for these two episodes, I'm thinking we're going to what we predict it to be at the end of the season. And at the end of the season, we'll do a follow-up episode kind of discussing all this plot points, all the favorites and least favorite parts, and give the final ranking compared to these rankings today. So, Jeff, you're with me. You got to watch it. How are you? And what are your initial thoughts on this show?
I'm doing good. Anytime we can talk about DC shit, I'm happy. This show is a show we loved in season one. I think I said in that episode it was my favorite iteration of Superman I had seen. And I still stand by that. Like, I really do love Jack Quaid's voice acting here. I love the story that's built around Superman. Like, season two, you are teased with the appearance of Kara Zor-El. You get to know a lot more of Jor-El and Superman's backstory. So I am 100% on board with the first two episodes that we did watch.
Yeah, and I think it continued a lot of the good stuff from season one. It's still funny. It still has some good action in it. The animation, of course, is great. I love how they implement kind of like the Japanese anime style in certain things, like the intro song, the blushing. Superman's a fucking ramen fan now, so that's great. But I am a little worried that his one weakness is spicy ramen. He had to get the mild flavor, so we might have to talk about that, Clark. Don't
He's
know
from
about that.
Kansas, Gerald. He's from Kansas.
But it is good, and I think I'm really excited to see where that Kara storyline goes.
Yeah, and then it looks like Amanda Waller is going to be the big bad of season two. And we've gotten a lot of Amanda Waller over the years with the Suicide Squad movies and Peacemaker. So this is a different version of Amanda Waller. I like how they tied it into General Lane, though. I think where the story is going is very interesting because you're probably going to have like a Kara Superman team up to take on Task Force X potentially at the end of this season. That's where I think maybe it might be going, but I do love what we've gotten so far.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about, and people might hate on this in this episode, but I think Lois is a problem. The first season in these first two episodes, we see how her and Superman's relationship is, and it's cute as shit, right? I mean, like she's willing to jump off buildings because she knows he'll be there to grab him and this and that. But also, like, she's kind of a fucking problem. First off, she looks at Superman whenever he talks about getting the beacon to find his cousin so he's not alone. And she's like, how about not? Because she can trust him, but can she trust other Kryptonians? And also, the fact that she just volunteers Clark, who is, by the way, still hiding a secret identity from her dad, to host her dad while he's hiding from the U.S. government.
Yeah, that
So,
was a dangerous game for
I
sure.
think I think Lois might be a problem this year. You get the first few episodes. I think episode two is when it's a Valentine's Day episode, and and you see just kind of like how they're not having issues, but there's kind of issues at the same time. They're not able to really talk. It's all about Superman. It's all about getting the next story. There's no real like actual relationship building anymore for them. They're in the thick of things, and I feel like that might be a crutch that not a crutch but a plot point that we see get expanded on over the next few episodes, especially just the way Soups kind of reacted at times whenever he could tell that he wasn't going to get his way from Lois.
I feel like we're on our way to like a Harley Quinn Ivy situation here. Like Harley Quinn and Ivy, you're waiting for them to get together. They get together in season two, at the end of season two. Season three, they had problems and then they broke up. I think that's probably the trajectory that we're going to go here. Like, to have a show like this, there's going to be some strife between like the main couple of it. So I can foresee like some big misunderstandings here,
Mhm.
especially with her dad involved. Like, how do you hide being Superman if this guy is going to be at your house 24/7?
Yeah, and I mean, he has an apartment in New York City. It's not like he has a 5 bedroom house or something with a backyard and a shed.
Yeah.
Like he's got a lot to work on there. One thing I do want to hit on that kind of bothers me is how do you feel about the fights?
They're not as strong as last season so far. Like last season, we got some really good fights. Like we got Doctor Ivo in his like mecha suit, and you get him a little bit at the end of episode 2. But in episode 2, you do get whoever the flaming skull guy was that looked like Ghost Rider. I have no idea who that guy was.
That's what I was thinking too the
I was
whole
like,
time. I was
I'm
like,
like, it's obviously not Ghost Rider because
wrong
Marvel and
universe.
DC. Uh,
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck's this guy? Don't know who he is. He was cool. I like that fight. Um, we get another version of Lex Luthor here, and not a fan of that so far,
Oh,
I
you're not a
guess.
fan of it. See, like I'm kind of excited to see what happens there because I do like that we're getting younger versions of all the characters.
Yeah,
So we're kind of getting a little bit of their origin stories at the same time, and they're also changed up. That's one thing I really like about the show is it doesn't, while it plays with the Superman norms, it also plays outside of those boundaries,
yeah,
and that makes it a little more fun. And then also, it has a lot of funny fucking meta jokes that I think me and you might be in a special case to understand. Um, Seeing just the way they go about, like even at work, I feel like they definitely have some former producers or reporters somewhere on staff telling them about morning meetings and how interns always have the shittiest, crazy ideas, or it's just a freaking mess all the time. You're always trying to chase and beat the competition, stuff like that. Like little jokes like that, I appreciated.
I do like how the interns are like portrayed as these little kids, and I was like, that's like almost on brand. I would say
It's so
is
on brand, man. I can guarantee every one of us has seen at least two or three interns like that in any of those newsrooms. It doesn't matter if it's the biggest or the smallest market,
yeah,
and it's great, and it's all good. Like interns are meant to be, um, what's the word, extravagant or over excited, and willing to put in. Um, but it is kind of funny just to see how they act. It's like it is kind of like you're babysitting a bunch of 18 to 19-year-olds who kind of get it, but are also still very much learning.
yeah. And usually we're very critical of when stuff like this is portrayed, like news stuff, like uh, things like The Newsroom that was on HBO. I thought was the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my
Fucking
life.
love that show. You are horrible. I
I
love
hated
that
that
show.
show. That show
Show is
was
great.
dumb. It
That
was
is that's a
very
work of
overly
art.
dramatic.
That's a work of
Um,
art.
we're getting way off topic, but yeah,
Oh, I did. My bad. There. We'll keep that in. I don't care. Keep that. But
yeah, one per
it's
episode.
so we're looking into the future of this episode. You've kind of already given your predictions, so I'm going to go again with mine because I do think I agree. I think we're going to get Car and Soups together. I'm interested, very interested in the Car storyline, mainly because it's one that we don't get often in media. Supergirl, right? I mean, we've got her occasionally in the DC extended universe. She kind of shows up in movies here and there. We got her in the CW universe, and she was good there to an extent. But I mean, as good as you can get on the CW, really, if we're being honest. Um, so I'm excited to see how this goes. How old is she going to be? Is she going to be aged up, same age as Clark, or is she going to be younger and he's going to have to like basically babysit and watch this kid all the time? How is that going to react with Lois? I think that's a very interesting storyline. We already kind of saw, like I mentioned, how Lois is against it, showing a little bit of her dad's beliefs in that as well, and Jimmy too, because Jimmy has shown himself to be quite the jealous friend, the one that doesn't like to be left
Yeah.
behind, and it seems like they're going to start having to leave him behind a little bit more.
So he's like a multimillionaire now. Was that what happened?
Yeah, because at the end of the last season, he had started like some social media app or some shit. Maybe it was a video. I can't remember the exact details. And I probably should have 100% looked that up before we recorded. But he had started some kind of social media thing. I think it's called Flamebird,
Yeah, that's it.
and so like that's why he has all those interns, and that's why he's like, I'm a boss now. But I could definitely see that getting in the way, whether it's him posting something that Superman doesn't want posted, or if it's him just getting left behind and becoming a big butthead about it, because that just seems like his kind of character's personality.
Yeah, he was not great the first 2 episodes. And my problems with Lex Luthor in this episode, which I didn't really elaborate on, was reminds me a lot of Jesse Eisenberg in Batman versus Superman. Like I got that vibe. I
The
want
way he
Lex
looks.
to be like smart and cunning and like very manipulative. With this guy could definitely be that, but we haven't gotten that Lex on screen in a
Yeah,
while.
I'll agree, but I'll also disagree to an extent because I think it showed kind of his cunningness and his bravery and his smarts to just walk up to Amanda Waller like he did at the end. Um, I'm sure we'll see a lot of character development with him and him growing up and changing. Obviously, I want him to be the big kind of charismatic, scary, also like just terrifyingly smart guy villain that we all know and love. Um, but I think I'm going to hold off on judging him just yet. It does remind me of Jesse Eisenberg with the look. That is a little weird, but I think there was some reason to that. I think that could be something. But let's jump straight into, because I don't want to spoil too much of the first two episodes. We've already spent 10 minutes spoiling them, but let's go straight into our predictions for how we think the season will go. Whenever we join back together and we end up ranking this in OtakuVerse number like 9 or 10, hopefully. So I'm looking at this right now and I'm thinking it might just be a starter. I'm hoping the fights get better. Obviously, I think they will, but you drop 2 episodes and you're going to have a fight with a pretty powerful villain. I would expect the fight to be better. I felt like I looked away for 2 seconds, looked up, and it was already done. And I understand he's Superman, but let's make it fun. Let's make it fun.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you. I probably would go starter too. Like it was enjoyable. Like it didn't blow me away or anything. Like there's still 8 episodes to go in the season, so there's room to grow. Kara's gonna probably show up at the end of this season. I think Zod probably shows up too. That would be my prediction.
Hmm.
Like they'll find out that there is other Kryptonians out there.
Yeah, for sure. So that's all good and done. We're going to join back up in a few weeks. I do have a quick rant, or I guess actually, do you consider this anime?
Um, it kind of it's like anime inspired, I would say, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not exactly like full on
Like it's an
anime.
animated series, sure. It's inspired by anime heavily with some of the plot points and some of the obviously the animation. It's the way the characters talk, the blushing, like when their face gets all red. So there are certain things that definitely I think put it into it and let it be talked about like that. But at the end of the day, it really is kind of up for inspection. I did have a little bit of a rant. Also, this goes directly to HBO Max. Fuck you and your ads. Um, we moved from streaming services for a reason, and I want to hear our viewers' opinions on this because
Well, do you have the ad HBO Max or do you have the ads
we
free?
shouldn't have either of them. There should only be one version. That's what I'm getting
Do you
at.
want to rant
We
about streaming services? Because we can make a
Yes.
whole nother episode on that. Yeah.
Just 2 seconds because this
Yes.
pisses me off. But why is Crunchyroll the only one that doesn't have the ads option? Like I don't understand it. Like Netflix has it now, Disney, Hulu, ESPN, HBO has them. Like this is why we left streaming, guys. I mean, not streaming, cable, to get away from that. So just be better, because if you're going to put ads on it, at least make the first 2 episodes you drop of a new animated series or the second season of an animated series a little bit better. But that's about all we got. So we're excited about My Adventures of Superman. See exactly where it goes from here. How Superman's going to deal with Kara and the Lois issue. If Jimmy's going to become a little bitch, and if we're going to see our favorite villain. See, I can't even remember his name because he doesn't even look like the damn villain.
Yes.
So, but we'll be all back, and we'll be sure to be talking about some more anime, some actual anime coming up soon. I'm currently digging through all the Demon Slayer chapters. I'm trying to get to chapter the 200s as soon as possible, so I can talk about the manga compared to the new series, where it is the Hashira training arc, and that'll be a fun one because we are about 3 episodes in right now, and I'm definitely going to have to give that one an All-Star Hall of Fame when it's all said and done. But you guys will have to tune in to find out more from that one. For Jeff, I'm Gerald. Make sure you follow us on social media. This has been Into the Otaku Verse on Box Office QBs.